We'll get back to our response to those wildfires in a little over 10 minutes, but first, we're looking ahead to the primary election, now just a week and a half away. Let's start by welcoming our Line Opinion panelists this week. Good to see Serge Martinez back with us. He's a professor at the UNM School of Law. We're also joined by two other panelists, Inez Russell Gomez, editorial page editor at the Santa Fe New Mexican, and Daniel Foley, former New Mexico State Representative and Minority Whip, I might add. Thank you all for being here. All right, early voting has started, but candidates are still getting their last shots in before Election Day. The biggest races we're following are for the Republican nomination for governor and the Democratic nomination for Attorney General. Attack ads have ratcheted up in both races, but the GOP governor's race has been especially targeted, with former weatherman Mark Ronchetti and State Representative Rebecca Dow jousting over who's most like Donald Trump. Daniel Foley, let me ask you this. Is this a smart strategy for the long haul for these candidates?
No.
Why?
Not at all. You got to run in the general, right? We talk about this all the time. You got to get through a primary, but you got to get through a primary in a way that you can still tack back to the middle and, get elected in the general election. And I think that this is not a great tactic when in the general election the president did not win the state of New Mexico. It'd be a different conversation if Donald Trump had easily won New Mexico and you were like, okay, listen, in the general, he beat Biden and all of this stuff, but the state is not moving in that direction. And so I think, running as far to the right as you can, and, you're seeing this on both sides, right? You're seeing this in the AG race with the Democrat candidates. Let's become as progressive as we can to win the primary and then figure out some way the next day to move back to the middle. I just think it's the kind of thing that it destines you for failure come general election time.
Inez, interestingly, Ms. Dow called Mr. Ronchetti a never Trumper. Does that work anymore at this point?
It might in the primary if he didn't have so much name recognition. The problem with all of the people running against Ronchetti is that everyone knew who he was because they'd seen the weather for years. And then he, had a decent run for Senate. So no one was looking at whether you were a Trump supporter or not a Trump supporter. You were looking, I think, to see who would be the most strong against Michelle Lujan Grisham. Because that's what you're doing, is you're nominating someone to run against the current incumbent. And I think Republicans are going to go with the name they know. And I also think the more you focus on Trump is the more you look backward. Elections are about the future. They're not about relitigating the past.
It can only carry you so far, certainly. I want you all to kind of get on this next one, but Serge, I'll start with you. Recent polling from KOB shows Mr. Ronchetti faring the best out of all the Republican candidates in what Inez just mentioned, a head-to-head race with Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. Now, poll shows the governor with a 4-point lead on Mr. Ronchetti. Jay Block had the second best shot, according to the poll. Now, are voters going to take that into account, or is it simply who they identify with most at this point?
My take on it is that, the primary system is designed to make sure that you get the person who is least likely to prevail in the general election, or at a minimum, it's not a concern, right? And based on what I'm seeing, there's some suggestion, I guess, that Ronchetti has decided to look past the primary because he's feeling so confident, but that's not something I've noticed. It does still seem like a lot of echo chambering, and I don't think the average voter is I don't know how strategic that the voting approach is in any primaries, as looking around the country, seeing how, as Dan was saying, there's this race to the outside, race away from the middle a lot of times in primaries that is destructive and problematic and strategically debatable. Well, no, not debatable, just I think unsound.
Sure. Hey, Dan, I'm interested in your opinion on this. In the polling, Michelle Lujan Grisham stacked against Rebecca Dow is a 48% versus 36% for Ms. Dow. I'm curious, in the overall where you see Rebecca Dow right now, has something not caught on with the primary voters with her? I honestly thought she'd be a little tighter to Mr. Ronchetti at this point. I'm curious of your sense of it.
So Gene, let me start off by saying that I donated to Greg Zanetti.
Okay.
I gave Greg Zanetti some money, so I think I want to make sure we all know that I my choice in the primary has been Greg Zanetti.
Appreciate that.
I think that the problem that Rebecca Dow is having is the problem that happens to, we see this at the presidential level with senatorial guys, people from the Senate that run, right? You think because you're a U.S. Senator, you got all this name recognition, but once you leave your state, no one really knows who you are.
Yeah.
I think Rebecca has great name recognition in her district, but getting outside of your district and thinking that people in, the opposite end of the state know what a state representative is doing. I can tell you as someone who was in the legislature and probably got as much, if not more press than any legislator in living history, not necessarily always good, you'd still go places and people had no idea who you were.
Sure.
Overwhelmingly had no idea who you were. So I think, as Inez pointed out, you've got a guy who's on TV that half to three-quarters of the state saw every night. It's a name. Whether you agree with it, disagree with it, whether you think he'll be a good governor, don't be good, it doesn't matter. Everybody else is coming from, I'm surprised. What I am surprised at in this is that Greg Zanetti's name recognition isn't higher. He did run for office quite a few years ago, and for the longest time, he had that financial show on KKOB, the radio station.
Yeah.
That does amplify. And Larry Aarons thought that was going to propel him in a governor's race. So I'm not surprised that Rebecca isn't doing as well as Mark Ronchetti. I think if you take a Mark Ronchetti out of the race and everybody is as is without Mark in there, I would suspect Rebecca Dow would have those higher numbers.
Right.
But I think it's just trying to make up for that name recognition and getting that money up front to do such a thing when, it's unbelievably expensive to try to get name recognition statewide in New Mexico.
You make a good point there. And one more, Dan, before I go to you, Inez, is there anything she can do, Ms. Dow, to close the gap at this point? Or has she swung her best punches at this point?
I think it's, I think right now, one of the things is once early voting has started, that the time for elections is so compressed now with early voting and absentee ballots. People have made up their mind. There is so much national stuff going on right now that I'm not sure there's been a compelling argument, or could be a compelling argument, to trump national news that's going on to get people to focus on the primary, especially when I think all indications are that most people think Michelle's going to get reelected as in the general election anyway.
And as let me bounce, actually, Dan kind of put a good ribbon on that. Let me go to the AG's race, if I can, with you. The Democratic Attorney General's race is the other big one, of course, on the primary ballot. State Auditor Brian Colon leading the fundraising battle over Bernalillo County DA Raul Torres. But there's been a lot of buzz around that since Mr. Colon has received significantly larger cash from out-of-state law firms. There's been some good reporting on that. Are we focusing too much on the money in this race, not the policy perspectives of each candidate at this point?
I wouldn't think so, only because their policy perspectives are pretty similar. I wouldn't think there's a whole lot of space between them. And money can direct how you do things, and I think that's totally a legitimate point. We endorsed Colon, but we said, you're going to have to answer for where you got your money and where you're going to spend it and who you're going to give contracts to. Because the thing we did like about Raul Torres was that he sees the office, he wants a more vigorous staffing of the office so that the AG's office, trains the best and smartest lawyers, does some of the prosecution and some of the litigation itself. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad model. With Colon, you got someone who had a more expansive view of all the things that office could do. And I think, though, you have to look at who's giving money and who's supporting. That's just huge.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, Serge, crime, of course, overrides the DA's race like a cloud. There's no question about it. Mr. Torres is trying to paint himself as the law and order candidate. He's got a track record that, we could look at, but we often hear these types of labels in GOP races. It's interesting, isn't it? Is it going to work in this case?
Yeah, I think, to your point, I think that's right. Dan was saying that he thought the AGs were trying to move to the left, and I strongly disagree. It's like they're trying to get as far to the right as possible, at least on crime. And they're, I feel like there's a word they're trying to. They think there's, you get $1 for every time you say catch and release,
right.
And it is it is certainly the only thing, and frustrating, I think, to someone who, like me, thinks the AG has actually other things that are going on in the job, right? And should be focusing on all the laws in New Mexico and not just this one aspect of our Constitution. But I I guess it must be working because, they have people more, who are out in the community talking to folks and seeing what folks are responding to. I can't watch the debates. They're just the same thing again and again and again and again. And I don't know if that's turning anyone off, but like Ines was saying, there's not a whole lot of room between them anyway. So I'm not sure what the point is. It's much of a muchness when you think about
absolutely.
positions.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you all for your thoughts. Hold on, Daniel. Sorry about that. Thank you all for your thoughts on the upcoming primary. We'll be keeping an eye on all the races leading up to the election. And remember, as Dan mentioned, early voting is underway. Producer Lou DeVizio spoke with Secretary of State Maggie Toulouse Oliver about that and the other changes for voters during a New Mexico in Focus Facebook Live on Wednesday. You can find that on our Facebook and YouTube pages.